can invite them all. That's fine. Yeah. Okay. Sit like this? Or?
You want the alignment?
Yeah, better. Correct.
Sorry.
Yes, let's do that.
Yeah.
While you call them up.
Yeah. I would now take the pleasure to call upon our respected panelist, Mr. Shishir Kumar, Dr. Shantanu Pathak, Dr. Fernandez, Dr. Divya Sriram, and Mr. Rahul Koparti. Onto the dais, please. Five.
Five plus me, I'll stand there.
Over to you, sir.
All right, I think. Hello? Perfect. I think I know there's a buzzer. I love the buzzers. And it was good we heard the buzzer. I love things that are on time. And we're going to be on time as well. So I'm going to start the reset, start. Okay. You see your books, you know the panel. I'm not going to introduce them. Google each of them. You'll find their backgrounds. First and foremost, Dr. Sunkavalli and Dr. Ambuj Sagar invited us, and then all of them agreed to come on a Sunday before lunch, so I'm very thankful. Collectively, what we are seeing in India today, and I'll request front benchers, please, we can hear you speak. If you can be a little quieter, it'll be helping for us to hear them. That'd be very nice. Of course, you can step out and talk outside as well. Right. So India now is at a point, all of them are exemplars of what is happening in India over the last decade. We're growing the MedTech innovation startups. There are many, many, many now. But all of us would say that we are somehow stuck, what I call as the death valley of proof of prototypes, proof of concept, or graveyard of prototypes is something we talk about. How do we really scale our products from India, ideate, innovate, manufacture, and scale not just in India, but across the world is something that my panelists will deliberate. They collectively come with at least, I'm 52 years old, so I can say collectively come with 120-year experience here. If I'm intellectually started at 10, then maybe 40, but still it's more than 100 years of experience that we bring. Let me just go around quickly, and so that you know their names, Dr. Sashir, Dr. Shantanu, Mr. Rahul, Dr. Neshel, and Dr. Divya. I'm going to call them by first names, but when you call them, please call with their doctors, okay? We have got 45 minutes, already 2 minutes I've taken. I said my presentation will be 2 minutes. So the idea, the very premise of what we are going to talk about, scale. If you think about it, India is a product nation. I bet you go and see what products you are using. This is Sennheiser, this is Chinese, this is, Samsung. India as a product nation is not there yet, but they are building that. How do we build India as a product nation is something we're going to talk about. If that is the premise, what are the challenges we have? And we're not going to crib about the challenges, we're going to talk about solutions also, right? I know the audience ranges from third-year students whom I met, Hema Varsha, Dakshini, and Mahita, to people who run hospitals, right? So just so that is the range of audience we were talking about. So my first question is, first round, please talk about what do you do, what excites you, and what are the challenges here in the India for scale of MedTech. I will do round robin, Russian roulette, so then nobody knows who I'm going to start. I'll start with Sashir, and then I'll see where I go. Sashir.
Yeah, it's working. Yeah, I'm Shishir. I am PhD in virology. I started one company earlier, and this is the current company is Huel Life Sciences. Huel is in the medical devices side. It is more into IVD. We basically manufacture end-to-end. We manufacture plastics to devices, to reagents, to chemistry. So I think the first question probably I answered. So the second one is regarding what are the challenges, huge challenges. The huge gaps in India, I think not many are clearly identifying the gaps. The one who identify gaps are sustaining because there's a huge market. And creation of all products, what we are currently working on in identifying the gaps. I think one thing which we understood after a couple of enterprises is to identify the gaps very clearly, so that which is feasible, which is not feasible. I think the challenge is to understand what are the real gaps, and only innovation doesn't drive. It needs utility of that innovation to be understood well. So that has to be in a place. People, every time when you talk about even the grant agencies or anybody, they all talk about innovations. Innovations, and that's the buzzword that every time you get some buzzword to get a grant. The objective is that doesn't drive the industry. It needs a sustainable model to make a product in large scale, and so that it would be utilized in large scale. So currently we are developing products like handheld RT-PCRs and 16-well PCRs, and currently our two products have been inducted in the national program for TB. We are also in the TB space, so we got through that part. So we have done the ICMR, CTD, and HTA and all that stuff. So currently these products are in the public health. We are also exporting. We are exporting to multiple countries. We export to Uganda, Indonesia, Vietnam, Malaysia. And we also are in multiple, around 140 products, so all the products. We are also into AMR and also environmental surveillance. So we also supply kits to ICMR. And good portfolio of AMR. So this is in action. So
Thank you, Sashi. So please, Dr. Sashi Kumar, Huel Life Sciences, Huel Diagnostics, Huel Life Sciences, yes. But he said, innovation doesn't drive, utility does. Sustainable model, export, right? So I'll jump to Neshil here, and Neshil, 2-3 minutes from you about what you do, what BrainSight AI, and what are the challenges that you are seeing. No, it's not working.
Okay. Hi. Hi, I'm Dr. Neshal Fernandez, and I lead the research commercials for BrainSight AI. We are a deep tech neuroscience startup that processes multimodal MRIs and our main product is for neurosurgeons, where we provide functional areas in the brain, and that really helps them navigate during neurosurgery. And it's a very high-tech product, and you would think all the challenges that have come to us in scaling, you hear talks about complicated ML models, AI ML models and things, but I can tell you what we've seen in the field when we actually go to scale up and try to sell this to hospitals, etc. Things like clinical workflow. How do you actually get a technician to send us the data seamlessly, right? They do the scan. There are challenges with low internet settings, challenges where there's just no incentive for him to do extra work, right? Download this, upload this to our cloud. So I think some of these things as a startup, you learn only once you start working with hospitals, and even things like billing. How do you ensure that the hospital has billed a patient? So we have different types of business models. And whenever I go to the team, product team or the research team with these problems, they're like, who would have thought billing a patient is a problem that we have to solve, right? So I think for
been in labor and birthing room. Yes. Me too. When I started exploring what to work on, basically I realized that there are two ends. One is we are using 30, 40-year-old technologies and processes, which is still helping on birthing side, but a lot of human intervention and error. And the second aspect is the quality of nurses or the staff, including their skills, was one of the challenge. And the systems were designed mainly for, tertiary centers or considering certain populations only. So what we do is primarily build new age, portable, wireless, AI-powered fetal labor and birthing solutions, which is helping to improve the quality of outcome during the birth and even predicting adverse birth outcome. What we see is extending this as a solution to Indian market. Of course, there were earlier challenges, but reaching to the largest population or the distribution is one challenge for MedTech companies. Educating healthcare providers on what these new things are and believing in them is definitely an expense that you have to go through. Second thing, I see one of the challenges also the investor expectation on the type of revenue model that you have and the market reality. So everyone wants as per use, per basically, but the reality is also hospitals are tuned to procure one-time thing. They own it and bye-bye, come for AMC next year, support. And perfectly, this is how the market is. But that becomes one of the limitation for Indian startups to really raise capital and showcase. We have done more than 1 million pregnant women, close to 2 million tests already in last 5 years. However, we still do not being seen as the best SaaS story of the world. So that's the challenge we are talking about.
Got it. Okay, well put. Thank you, Shantanu. Investor expectations. We'll talk about other stuff as well. So let's have Divya, and then we will go to the nitty-gritty of all what they have said.
Thanks, Dr. Satya. Thanks, organizers from Yashoda Hospital for having me here. I'm Divya. So I would take a step back to what all my panelists are talking about, right?
There's a wall behind you. Just be careful. Right, go ahead.
Not
yes.
literally, but yes. So I think we, coming from the perspective, since we are at a hospital, there are a lot of doctors here, coming from that perspective, while I could understand the like a molecular patient diagnostic workflows in a hospital while I was doing my PhD at CCMB, Hyderabad, and we were scrambling to get samples from hospitals in order to test some hypothesis in my PhD thesis. And then while I was doing my postdoc at Hopkins, when we were working with infectious diseases, and we identified how the clin micro labs do the testing right from sample to results. And often the one thing that was really glaringly visible was that the gap between a patient's problem and a solution is right and timely diagnostics. And that kept on iterating to me that in the laboratories, in like hospital labs and other kinds of labs that are available right now in centralized testing models, you have the right diagnostics, you have a lot of MedTech devices that can do the right diagnostics, but often it's not timely because of the operational challenges that exist. And that sort of helped me navigate to where I am currently at the startup called Denome, where we are essentially trying to bridge that gap of bringing diagnostics to the point of care, directly to the patient rather than taking a patient sample and putting it in a centralized laboratory, all the logistics, all the operational challenges being looked at, and completely flipping the script. But this is where the MedTech challenges that some of our panelists were also talking about, and even Satya pointed out, this is a death valley, right? We often see the device when it's already done, validated, sitting in a laboratory, but there's a lot of journey behind that. And that is, you can break that down into technology readiness levels. Now, a certain product has various technology readiness levels, say 1 to 4 from ideation, concept stage to prototype and early internal validation, then 4 to 7 stage, which is mostly a clinical validation, and then the 7 and above about scale up and optimization, right? Where it's designed for manufacturing, designed for servicing. And so it's not always that everyone starts at the same technology readiness levels as a company in MedTech. and some of them focus on bringing technology that are already pre-validated, license them out, and then do the difficult journey of taking them through regulations and scale up. And some of them have to start right from the beginning, from the prototype concept stage. And at Denome, we did that. We started right from the concept stage because we wanted to completely bring a new technology, kind of a new workflow in place. It's something that creating a new category rather than trying to replace that what's existing. And this was on how we can make MedTech less about the hardware. So if you look at MedTech, if I look at it as 4 different technology layers. One mainly is the hardware, which is what the user really sees and interacts with. Then you have the firmware or the software and other aspects that make the hardware really run. And then you have the chemistry, which is a very integral part of MedTech, without which you really don't achieve the results. And the 4th is how you're actually making it operationally efficient in the workflow. And so
hardware, firmware, chemistry,
and operational efficiency.
and at each of these there is challenges,
And
right?
each of these, there is challenges in each
And I
of
think
the
both you
technology
and Dr.
businesses.
Sashir, both of you come from the same background. Neshel, by the way, is only software. He helps doing everything that is needed, software, hardware. You are device plus hardware plus software.
Yes,
right?
absolutely.
Okay,
So
I'll give you 30 seconds to close this.
one last.
Yeah.
Exactly. Yeah, I was about to say that just last one point. So
I'm very scared of
we
the buzzer. We're going at 18 minutes, so that's
Right,
okay.
right.
Yeah.
So we focused on the chemistry aspect because we identified that the depth values at each TRL and the iterations that are required, we would focus on our strengths on protein engineering and focus on building the chemistry in such a way that we can simplify the hardware aspects. And that's how we built some of our first battery-operated devices for infectious disease screening at point of care, and currently working on that aspect.
Got
of
it.
TRL.
Thank you, Divya. So you heard them all. They are at the forefront of pushing technologies into the market to bring value to the customer, and obviously alleviating healthcare challenges. Each of them is doing that, and some of them actually help others do that. People like Rahul here. We have to be more exciting, otherwise people start leaving. So, see, not an empty one here. Okay, so I'll jump straight. Sashi knows me well, and he said, oh, we discussed something, but I'm going to ask something that we have not discussed, right? So the first thing is he mentioned, and this is relevant for everybody, he mentioned, see, it is not easy to build a startup, and for those who are in their undergrad and postgrad, write to them, get an internship done, work for a year or 2 or 3 before even you do a master's and stuff like that. Absolutely, they will be happy to engage. So, Hema Varsha, Dakshita, and Mahita are now happy. You said you export, and also your 2 products in the national program, Sashir. And this phrase, 2 products in the national program, is, only, I don't know how he still maintains some crop of black hair, but that's very, very difficult. So my first question, is about procurement, and we'll talk about manufacturing before that. What are the challenges of getting into a national program, right? Do you think we have reached nirvana state in India? Or number 2 is, how do you get into, forget national programs also, but how do you break the walls of a hospital chain procurement, right? So this is the first question. Sashir, you go, and then 30 seconds to the rest. You go for 1.5 minutes.
Yeah, thanks a lot. So actually getting into any of the products in the national program is very, very, very challenging. And it's a long journey. People prior to me took 7 years. I took 4 years. So I think Mallboy was started long ago, getting into public health systems. That took 6 to 7 years for them, hard struggle. And same here, like last 4.5 years. There are lots of hurdles. You have to get, I'll give you a little bit of regulatory jargon into how much it takes. You have to, first you need to get a test license, and then you have to go for validation at ICMR. And ICMR validation would take not less than 3 to 4 years. It's a perspective study. People would voluntarily take samples and do, especially in TB. And then subsequently you have CDCS scope licenses to be done, and that has to be done at third party, other than ICMR. And after that, you need to go to CTD, Central TB Division. And after that, you have to have feasibility study. And then you need operational feasibility study. And then you need HTA, Health Technology Assessment done. And then this all goes to another portal called Nikshay portal. From there, people can see your tests building up. And for these to happen, and apart from this, after all this, each individual chains, for example, we need to validate each center.
Just imagine the complexity. Big round of applause for all of them for doing this, right? Despite all the challenges.
So I think everybody would undergo, either they are not undergoing, they'll undergo this. So
You know what's coming.
So this is a long journey,
Yeah.
for sure, in case of any of the programs, because all notifiable diseases are under National Health Program. So
How can you shorten this journey? You did from 7 to 4, you said.
Yeah.
What do you think? You just said the ICMR takes 3 to 4 years.
Yeah,
Can that be shortened while keeping, the data validity and all
See,
all
ICMR
of
picks
that?
up only innovative tests, which are gaps, right? So it doesn't go with the same test what has been done earlier. It goes with an innovative test. And if for any innovation, any test, you don't have a predicate device. So for that, you need to again undergo the same sort of life cycle of validation. So that anyway would take around that time. I think 3 to 4 years. That's
3 to
what
4 years is minimum, right? Yeah.
So to clear all that and then to get into.
How about regulatory?
Yeah, regulatory is now, I think, picked up very good. And in fact, it is very open and very transparent compared to when we started our first company. We started in 2008, our first company called RAS Life Sciences, which has been acquired by Biomerio later. So then when we started Huel, it was pretty transparent. We knew about the systems well. So now it is very transparent. If you don't have a predicate device, you have another form to fill, you need to submit the tag, and then you will get a test license and then go ahead with manufacturing.
Great, thank you. So there is improvement. You want to say 30 seconds something about that's really challenging. How do you contract this 7 years to maybe 3 years? It's not possible. Will it be possible using AI?
Absolutely, I think it is possible now because the regulations and ICMRs and all have come together now. I think that's good part. Funding is free. I think right now the funding, of course, is
Which funding is free, Satya?
in the sense.
Tell me that.
There are lots of funding. I mean, in the
Okay.
sense it's not like free flow, what I'm talking about, unless. So we got through BIRAX, we got to Gates Foundation, we got through SMDI right now, and
correct.
we got to multiple funding agencies, RDI. So there are multiple funding agencies right now to fund your prototype. So I think it is right channel to tap and get things done.
Wonderful. So you see, whom do you want to meet? Honorable Nirmala, Madam?
I mean, it depends upon the topic, but
So for you, for your industry, quickly.
for our industry, the health ministry or the regulatory bodies,
Okay. And what would you tell them?
how are they going to adapt AI?
How are you going to adapt
cut down
AI?
the timelines regarding, he was talking about 3 to 4 years for
Okay.
clinical research, right?
Right. Let's jump to Divya. How is AI going to impact you, and whom do you want to meet, and what do you want to say?
To all of the people that I meet, and we should meet all of them, we should say that AI is like a student who is right now working on limited knowledge, especially in healthcare.
But
medtech
thinks knows
space.
it all.
But there needs to be technologies that would build the foundational data on which AI is going to learn, and that's something that I think all of us are doing here.
All right, that's good. By the way, just students here, again, student, because she says student. If you are even doing biotech, please learn Python, not the snake. If you don't know what Python I'm referring to, the software. Okay, go ahead. Nasha?
Yeah, so I think, like Divya said, right, I would encourage at the national level and state levels to really look at our infrastructure to support this, booming of AI, right? Also data protection and data privacy. We have a lot of like the DPDP Act, etc. coming on, but we're not ready for it. And most of the hospitals, companies, they're just trying to wrap their head around it, right? So I think just being able to help understand how we actually execute on that or put those in space is very important versus just, putting a law out there or thinking that we are going to suddenly have a lot of AI development happening. So
Right.
that's
So the issues about data protection and all, right? Thank you. Shantanu, and I'll end with Sashir.
So we have immense opportunities of predicting adverse outcome, risk, or adhering to the quality with AI. But downside is because health is linked to the ethnicity and localized aspects. Quality of data, availability to build those AI models which works on our own population is going to be an extremely crucial part, and I think
And that is linked to what we discussed just before, right? Sashir, Neshel, everybody pointed out access to clinical data, right? Yeah. And you don't want to meet anybody?
Well, I would want to meet ICMR, CGCO, and of course, everything if they are not listening, then PMO to get things done.
Okay, great. Thank you. Sashir, you have the last word here.
Yeah, I think we already adapted into our manufacturing. Right now, we have a paperless documentation, and all the documentation and regulatory side is now automated, and we actually like some sort of AI being laid over it to predict the production process, and every process is right now automated, and right now we have paperless documentation. So I think I would meet DOP and others who do the regulations and put a common portal where everybody can access each other's, not each other, at least regulators can access our documentation directly batch to batch.
That was Bell saying that, yes, we will go there. What a wonderful panel. Big round of applause. I know there were around 1 minute of, because the mics didn't work and all. I'm exactly at 45 minutes, okay? So buzzers should have come after a minute. But, let me end this by saying, you saw the complexity of ideating, innovating, building, validating, manufacturing, and then finally getting into the market. Even just in India, that's such a complex journey, right? And all of them have done it or trying to do it. And platforms like what Rahul is building is helping them accelerate that. Right? So that's one. And once you do it in India, then taking it abroad to other regulatory geographies is another complexity that they will start tackling. So scaling from India, and I'm hopeful. I've been in this ecosystem. Sashir and I know each other for the last 15 years. So is Santanu. I've seen him from his student days. And so is Divya. We hope that in the next 15 years, or even less than that, we'll at least have 10 globally scaled up product right out of here. And globally is what I meant, which means including India, right? Thank you again. Thank you for listening. And thank you to Yashoda Hospital, Dr. Sunkavalli and others, and Dr. Padu, Dr. Venkat, who invited us. And thank you to all very fine people here who agreed to come. And of course, to all of you, thank you very much. And it's 47 minutes.